Hey, good afternoon, 23rd. Today I'm working in my law enforcement capacity, and we're talking with our Chippewa County Dispatch and their roles serving the community as it is celebration time for them, National Dispatchers Week, as well as more of my questions regarding mental health and how they deal with it. And today we have with us the big honcho of the Chippewa County Dispatch Center, Tamee Foldy, and I was going to ask her some questions about their roles as dispatchers and the mental health element of it and how they deal with it. So I guess first and foremost, how many staff do you have here?
We have the ability to have 14. Usually we have a turnover. It's not a job that everybody can do. So right now we are at 9, and then I have some part-time or limited term employees. I have 4 of those that work for us as well.
As far as turnover, what's the number one reason?
I would say not everybody can do the job of dispatcher. There's a lot of multitasking, a lot of having to do about 20 things at once. It's either sunshine and rainbows for us, or it's a thunderstorm. So some people can't handle all of that. Also with shift work is very hard. Working nights, weekends, holidays, those kinds of things are difficult on a family life. 3 of my LTEs left a full-time status with us and stayed on as a part-time because they can make their own schedule. They enjoyed the job or the career as a dispatcher, but for family life it didn't work. The shift work, the hours, and then I think just the multitasking, and then probably the calls. And we all know life isn't getting any easier, and the calls are getting more difficult, and especially even in our smaller communities, like even in our county, like in Chippewa County, those things are difficult. Sometimes people can't handle that. So
when you're talking about the difficult calls, what does that look like? Define a difficult call.
I think it's like any profession you're in as far as emergency services. I was an EMT for several years, and when my kids were little, any child call was hard, especially if it was a same age child as mine. Baby deaths are hard, child deaths are hard. Yeah. Officer involved incidents are definitely difficult. This is, as a dispatcher, our main priority and our main goal every single day is to make sure everybody goes home. When that doesn't happen, or there's some type of compromise that it's not as nice as it should be, we take that personally, we hold it closely. I mean, we take full responsibility, even though it's out of our control. And so I think those calls are definitely hard. I was here maybe a year when I was involved in an officer-involved shooting. I almost left my profession, and it's 25 years later, and here we are. We have births of babies, things like that sometimes help balance things out for us in a day. Nice calls, good calls, things that end well. So I think it balances it. But I would say, deaths in general are hard, especially when there's a child, or it's something that could have been prevented, or a suicide. Obviously you hear people having the worst day of their life. A Girl Scout crash. I mean, you have a volunteer group who's out doing something good in the community, and meanwhile we all know what took place and the tragedy that took place. I actually dispatched that call. There's a lot of guilt. I was talking to one of the parents who was on scene, and for me, I had some guilt because of what if her daughter wasn't going to make it? Her daughter actually survived, but at the time we didn't know that. And then I felt like, what if that was me with my daughter, who again related it because she had been in Girl Scouts. What if that was me, and now I took the last minutes this mom had with her daughter of me going, I need to know where you are. You need to tell me where you are, and you need to tell me how many people are hurt. Trying to get the information so we could get the appropriate resources, but I almost felt selfish. Sometimes that's hard to deal with. Those emotions are hard.
So how do you deal with situations like that? You not only do you have to take care of yourself, but you have your employees out here to take care of. So what does that look like? Well, what does mental health relief look like? We know that vets like to talk to vets, and cops like to talk to cops, fire to fire. Dispatchers, what do you do?
We're the same. We're all kind of that rare breed. We're different. We talk to anybody in emergency services, but again, yes, we would talk to our own people, maybe somebody that you're closer to in the division. myself, just because a lot of times maybe someone's had that same type of call or something similar, and they can kind of help you work through it, and they probably experienced the same emotions that you have and can kind of help with it. We definitely are very blessed as far as our responders, whether it's law enforcement, EMS, or fire. Dispatchers don't get closure. So, when I was an EMT and I was on scene, I knew what happened. Even if it was an unfortunate, not a good ending, I knew what happened. And visually I could see it. All we do is hear, right? And we can only go with what we have. So I think not having closure is probably one of the most difficult things for a dispatcher. We are very fortunate here, very blessed that all of our responders are very good about giving us information if we ask to help bring us that closure. Otherwise, we do talk to each other. The county offers an EAP or an employee assistance program where there's resources there as well. We recently in Chippewa County, our office here, recently we started our own peer support team. which actually consists of people from every division, every level. We have managers, we have jailers, dispatchers, patrol officers, investigators, clerical staff. It doesn't matter. It's composed of a large group of people from all different varieties. So I think there's that opportunity as well. My staff, I encourage them, to talk to me, keep me posted with their mental health, where they are. Once in a while, I'll do a little mental health check-in. I may send an email out that says, "Tell me how you're doing." It's got some little colors on it, different things like that. Just something that says, "Hey, tell me how you are." If I'm made aware of a case or a call that a dispatcher has handled or been involved in that's difficult, something personal may have triggered something for them, I will check with one of our local mental health providers, Hakes Wellness Solutions. Talk to Holly and say, "Hey, could you just check in with somebody for me?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So she'll message them. Now it becomes between them. I think as a supervisor, sometimes they might feel like I may look at them and think they can't do their job anymore. That's definitely not the case. Keeping it between now them, it's separate from me, but yet at least I know someone's reaching out to them besides me. We obviously do critical incident stress debriefings if those are needed. That brings closure as well, because everybody shares their portion of the scenario or the call. So that helps us as well.
So the future, we're talking next gen 911, the video ability now. How is that going to be more of a detriment to a dispatching position in the future? Because then
I think it's a double-edged sword. I really do. I see the benefits of it. I think that, again, like we talked, you don't have that visual. You can only go with what your caller is giving you. And a lot of times we know that it may be made more severe by the caller than it really is, or vice versa, right? It's no big deal. You get there, he just cut his finger, and meanwhile he's got half of his hand cut off when we get there. Obviously, it's different resources that we need to get to the scene, right? There's huge benefits to having that video capability. What scares me, I guess, or not scares me, but concerns me, some of our newer dispatchers who are inexperienced, haven't had the experiences, life experiences or professional experiences that we have, that have maybe made us a little more tough-skinned. Now you're exposed to that. Or maybe they chose a dispatch career because they didn't want that hands-on or that face-to-face exposure. So there's concerns on both sides. I see the benefits, but yet I see the negatives of it as well.
Well, happy National Dispatchers Week.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. In my opinion, you all are the unseen heroes.
We appreciate
because you
that.
guys make sure that we get every piece of information that we need to try and successfully resolve any type of incident, from a nosebleed to the worst of the worst, a death investigation scene. And you can see that there's multitasking going on, because we're in kind of a little Tamee's mini dispatch center, and there's calls going on, there's pages going off, and I'm trying to continuously look, but you see how good of a multitasker our dispatchers truly are. So I want to thank you for your time today, and thank you for all that you do, because it does truly make a difference in the lives of every community that you all serve. So
yeah, well, the feeling's mutual, so we enjoy being part of the law enforcement family. So
thank you.
Thank you.
23rd, I hope you enjoyed this short segment on our dispatchers and what it looks like for mental health in their life. So more to come.